Russia has fired more ballistic missiles at Ukraine in the first 19 days of July than its defense industry is estimated to produce in an entire month, a sign, according to the Institute for the Study of War, that Moscow is now drawing down stockpiled reserves rather than relying purely on new production to sustain its strike campaign. Per citing Ukrainian defense outlet Militarnyi and Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Directorate, Russia launched 107 ballistic missiles and 20 Zircon missiles against Ukraine between July 1st and 19th. Ukraine's military intelligence estimates Russia produces roughly 100 ballistic missiles per month combined, about 60 iskander-m missiles for its iskander-m system, and 40 RM-48U missiles launched from S-400 systems. July's total already exceeds that monthly production estimate, with nearly 2 weeks still remaining in the month at the time of the report. The Zircon figure is even starker. Russia's planned annual production for 2026 is only around 30 of these missiles, meaning the 20 fired in under 3 weeks account for roughly 2/3 of the entire year's planned output. For comparison, in all of June, Russia used a total of 102 Iskander-M and S-400 ballistic missiles, 2 Kh-47M2 Kinzhal missiles, and just 15 Zircon missiles, meaning July's pace represents a clear and deliberate escalation, not a routine month. Before this surge, Ukrainian intelligence estimated Russian stockpiles at over 100 Iskander-M missiles, more than 400 RM-48U missiles, and over 120 Zircons. As recently as December 2025, Russia was estimated to hold around 200 Iskander-M missiles alone, meaning the current pace suggests a real and measurable drawdown of that reserve, not just a temporary spike in production. ISW analysts suggest Russia may be leaning on ballistic missiles specifically because they have a higher interception evasion rate than drones or cruise missiles, even as the total volume of drones launched has actually fallen, from 5,749 in June to 2,955 in July. This depletion comes as separate reporting turns to what Ukraine's own future ballistic missile capability might eventually look like. In a July 23 interview with Ukrainian outlet OBOZ.UA, Israeli military analyst David Sharp said, "The more important question isn't where Ukrainian ballistics could eventually strike inside Russia, but when they'll exist in meaningful numbers." Sharp argued that a handful of accurate missiles, even ones theoretically capable of reaching Moscow, would only allow for symbolic, one-off strikes rather than sustained deterrence. Real intimidation, he said, requires consistent, large-volume capability, not isolated demonstrations that an adversary can simply absorb and dismiss. He framed it as a genuinely difficult trade-off for Ukrainian commanders. With only a small number of missiles available early on, Ukraine would likely need to choose between a symbolic strike on Moscow or a more directly useful hit on a specific military-industrial target, not both. Only once production scales up meaningfully, Sharp said, would there be enough missiles to pursue both symbolic and targeted strikes simultaneously, hitting factories in places like Tula alongside targets in Moscow itself. Sharp also raised a political dimension, noting that some of Ukraine's allies have reportedly asked Kyiv to avoid striking Moscow directly, with implied consequences for continued military aid if that request isn't respected. He added a technical caution as well. When a ballistic missile is first tested, that typically means full operational deployment is still years away, so early test reports shouldn't be mistaken for proof that the capability already exists in usable numbers. Put together, the picture is a Russian missile arsenal already showing visible signs of strain after just 3 weeks of July, alongside a Ukrainian ballistic missile program that, per independent analysis, still needs real scale before it becomes a genuine strategic tool rather than a one-time symbolic statement. That's your grid reference for today. Subscribe for tomorrow's numbers.